Niji Akanni has been a professional director in the Nigerian theater, film, and television practice for most of his 35 working years so far. He holds a 1986 BA Dramatic Arts of the University of Ife, a 1998 MFA Screenwriting and Film Directing from the Film Institute of India, Pune, and a 205 MA Theatre Arts from the University of Ibadan. A fellow of the USIS International Visitors Program on American Theatre Study Tour in 1992. His work was once described as being unapologetically experimental in his staging techniques, even while displaying a deep respect for the formal text. Between 1986 and 2012, Niji Akanni directed 29 major plays in theaters across Nigeria, India, and UK. Many of these were the classic plays of Wole Soyinka, Femi Osofison, J.P. Clark, Olarotimi, Esiaba Erobi, Ahmed Yerima, Sam Hart Williams, Arthur Fugard, and Samuel Beckett. Niji Akanni is also a respected screenwriter and a director in the Nigerian film and television industry. Apart from several award-winning works, he also has taught at many film and media training institutions, including NTA TV College Jos, and conducted workshops in film and video production at the Covenant University, Ota, the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and the Dominican University, Ibadan. Niji Akanni has produced and directed a total of 25 documentary films for several NGOs, including the award-winning We Speak For Us, funded by DFID, for the International Press Center, Lagos, and so many others. He was also a part of the beginning of television reality shows in Nigeria, having featured as a content director in such benchmark shows like Amstel Motor Box Office 2005, Big Brother Nigeria 2006, and The Apprentice Africa 2008. Niji Akanni, he did not include that, but he will use his mouth to include it. He has to fill that space. Niji Akanni is married. He has to confirm. Oh, he's married with children, and so on and so forth. But seriously speaking, it's a pleasure to have you, sir, on our show.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sotimirin.
We are so blessed. God bless you, sir. Okay, great. Let's begin the real conversation with you. Uncle Niji, Baba Agbalagba, you are too much. You graduated from the University of Ife, yes. Now Obafemi Awolowo University, at the Dramatic Arts Department in 1986, correct?
That's right.
Fantastic. So, what were you doing after graduation?
That's a long story. I did my service at the Sub-Department of Dramatic Arts, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I was retained there for about a year and a half, and then I came back to Lagos and became part of the seminal excuse me, staff and resource persons at the Performance Studio Workshop led by Chuck Mike, who was my teacher actually in directing at the University of Ife. So that's where we started, and got so good. We've been there professionally. I've worked most of my life as a professional director on stage until I went for film training in India in 1995. And I came back and I've continued to be a professional screenwriter and director until I went into academics. So I juggle between academics and professional life now. That's where I am.
Interesting. I mean, going through the trajectory of your professional works, yeah. I mean, it's quite obvious that your area of specialization is directing. Yeah. Would you then say that screenwriting is an occasional engagement for you?
No, it's not. It's not. I'm fortunate, I would say, that I got trained as a theater director first before moving into film. And I moved into film when the Nollywood experiment started in 1994. I like to say usually that I'm the first what they call artistic director in Nollywood. And myself and somebody like Frank Vaughan, people like that, Fred Amata.
Yeah.
Yes, So, but because Nollywood, when it started, it was more like a television drama, just imported into, packaged into VHS cassette. I knew that film was much more than that. So that's why I strove to increase my knowledge, in film form, and I went for an MFA in India. And by the time I came back, I could not really function within the Nollywood setup anymore, because it was something else entirely. I had been exposed to film on a different level, which was not what Nollywood was practicing. I think I began to operate on the fringe of Nollywood, and that's where I'm still at.
Interesting. You started your directing career,
Yes,
as you said, in 1918 on stage,
yes,
as a founding member and the later resource person and resident director at the performance studio
workshop.
Yeah, Studio Workshop Lagos, which was established by Chuck Mike, that American, that incredibly ingenious, internationally acclaimed playwright and director,
Yes.
Mr. Chuck Mike. And you created and assisted in creating and directing several skits and sketches, many of which became iconic titles in the history of improvisation and community outreach theater in Nigeria. Improvisation.
Yes.
It's not something that this is for stage. We are emphasizing your role as play director for live theater stage here now. It's not something that we can connect to film productions really like that. But we come to that. But the issue that I want to get at is could you take us through your transition from being a student director and a professional theater director with Chuck Mike, from school
Yes.
to Chuck Mike? Could you take us through the transition? For instance, what would you say marked you out as a directing student that you now built upon as a professional director under Chuck Mike?
Okay, interesting question, Tunji. Thank you. I think I was lucky in the sense that in my set of directing class in 1986, I was the only directing student with Oga Chuck Mike. So he had all the time for me. So he more or less poured everything he had inside him into me. So, and I soaked it in because apart from loving the art, I love the man. Chuck Mike made me who I am today.
Wow.
And that's the truth, because he did not only teach me the basics of directing. He taught me also how to be a good human being. He taught me how to be how to take art seriously. And it's not a joke. Art is not something that you use to exploit people. Art is not something that you become frivolous with. He taught me the importance of being a director, the responsibility of being a director. You do not become a director and become a god. You do not become a director and use that because it's a position of power, absolute power, in any art form. Whether you're a director on a radio program, or you're a director in a TV program, you're a director in a film, it's a very powerful position. So you need extra maturity to handle that role properly, apart from your talent. So I learned all that from him. So when we finished, when I graduated, again I got lucky. I got retained at the Department of Theatre Arts at Nsukka, where I did my service. So my theatre training, as it were, and practice continued. When I left Nsukka, Chuck Mike was about to set up performance studio workshop. Naturally, he invited me in, and of course I joined him. So we were there for like 5 years, you know. And like I said, when Nollywood started in 1992, 1993, the structure was that the first directors of Nollywood, you know, them Chiko Ejiros, then Zebe Jiro, you know, Andy Amenechi, Tadeo Gidon, you know, these guys came from television.
That's right.
You know, so they knew the techniques of camera work and all that.
They had the grounded.
They had the grounded of screen work.
Yeah.
But what they lacked was performance. How do you get performance, clean performance out of, you know, actors? Which is where we, theater arts graduates then, who did directing, came in as artistic director. So we concentrated on getting performance out of the actors then, you know. So I functioned as artistic director in Nollywood at the beginning like that. And then, like I said, I felt that film form had more to offer than Nollywood was offering. So I went to India and studied again film directing. So I took all that knowledge that I've built in PSW, at TIFE, at Nsukka, I took all that into the new form of film in India. And without boasting, I think my school in India is one of the best film schools in the world, actually. Yeah, it is called FTII. You know, so again, I soaked in everything that I could about the film form for 3 years in India before coming back.
Wow.
So and my work, I think, has reflected all that experience, all that personal vision of what
exposure.
Yes, what art form is in my work so far.
Interesting.
And that's what I try to teach my students in all the universities, all the workshops that I've taught in, that I'm still teaching in. You know, what life gave me, I'm trying to give it back.
You made a point about the fact that the Nollywood directors that you interacted with when you were going into film production, we did not critically look at the aspect of the performance.
Yes.
Is that link still missing?
No, I mean, it would be foolhardy actually to say that it's still missing, because Nollywood has improved significantly from, I mean, we're talking about 30 years or 25 years now, you know. Directors of Nollywood nowadays, because most of them are more exposed to the film form, most of them are more aware that film is not just about placing camera here and there. You know, film is also an integral function.
Very organic.
It's very organic. You need to marry all the elements together to get what you want across the audience. So they are very much aware of what performance is, and the actors themselves are better trained nowadays. They're better exposed. You know, so it's not like how we started.
Used to be.
No, not at all.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, your work was once described as being unapologetically experimental in terms of staging techniques. And even though you acknowledge the fact that you pay attention to the requirement of formal texts.
Yes.
But, I mean, with this kind of approach to work, have you encountered some playwrights who would insist that their plays should follow certain regimented and prescribed order, especially when they come to watch their plays in the course of rehearsals?
Yes, thank you. Very interesting question again, Tunji. Thank you. Deliberately in my career, I had chosen to work on plays, text that I don't have access to the playwright. Or they don't have access to me.
Wow.
You know, so the issue of they seeing the play and they're not liking it or liking what I did in it was very minimal. You know, I think the only playwright I ever worked with that I had full access to me was Ahmed Yerima.
Wow.
In 2007 when I directed the National Troupe for
Aitu.
Aitu,
Yeah.
You know, I was kind of skeptical. I was afraid, actually, that how is this going to work now? This man is there all the time, you know. But then it gave me absolute free hand.
No, that's Yerima for you.
You know, absolute free hand to do his work. You know,
Yeah.
and I think he liked it because later on he recommended me to do his play for some producers, some other 2 plays that I did for him or with him. You know, so I went over that initial fear with Ahmed Yerima because of who he is, actually, you know. So it worked for me. But still today, I would rather do a play that the playwright is dead or it's not available. Because I can tear a play apart.
Yeah.
I will not mess with the form.
That's right.
You know, but my interpretation might be a little bit unusual.
Anyway, we will come back to additional information with regards to the response that you have given. But in the meantime, Usman is eyeing me to say, let's make some money. Usman, Funimozu.
This is 101.7.
Yes FM.
Ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n amòye ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn nípa pé ká máa ṣe fíìmù fídíò Nollywood gbogbo ẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti ṣe wọ́n lè ń ṣeré theatre. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ti ń wéré theatre tẹ́ wo Nollywood tẹ́ wo fíìmù movie. Ó ní ìbéèrè tí tẹ́ bá ní ìbéèrè tẹ́ fẹ́ bí wọ́n wà ń bí o torí ọlọ́pọlọ onímọ̀ tó jinlẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti lọ káàkiri àgbáyé. Bàbá wa Niji Akanni lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí akíyan.
Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
Ẹ kú kalẹ̀.
Ẹ ṣé.
Bá ṣe ń sọ lọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan ní Gẹ̀ẹ́sì. Niji Akanni, you remember? I remember you were also a journalist at some point in the build up to your career as a director,
Yes.
screenwriter. What happened to your journalistic life?
I was a journalist to feed myself. Hunger drove me to journalism. You know, like I said, I was a journalist between 1990 and 1994, actually. I started with the African Guardian.
Yes.
As a reporter, covering the arts beat, you know. And that was because at that time, I mean, there was no Nollywood. I was trained as a theater artist.
Yeah.
You know, I was, excuse me,
Yeah.
I was a resource person at PSW. I didn't have a permanent employment there.
Yeah.
You know, so we worked on project basis. Project came, we negotiated our terms, we worked on it. Project ends, Afonkasi Boro.
Benny. Benny.
You know, so
regular lotiti.
that was the thing. So I stumbled into journalism.
Hello, good afternoon.
Just a minute, Mr. Niji Akanni.
Yes,
somebody is calling us. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I say yes to everything in the studio there. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. May we know who's calling, please?
My name is Olawale Ajayi. I am calling from Ijebu-Ode in Ogun State.
Lawani Ajayi.
Yes, Olawale Ajayi.
Olawale Ajayi.
From Ijebu-Ode in Ogun State.
God bless
Yes.
you, sir. I'm sure you like
God
to
bless you.
make. So,
Yes, I want to pick the brain of the veteran in the studio there.
okay.
You know, drama is a reflection of life.
Yes, sir.
And when you stand before a mirror, it projects an image. The image you see is a reflection of who you are. That is the way we look at drama.
Yes, sir.
And so when a dramatic piece is put up either on stage or it's in film or whatever, whichever form, it is expected to speak to the society.
Yeah.
And in the process, the society is expected to react to it. If what you have seen is good, beautiful. If it is not good, correct yourself. Why is it that today what we produce as films no longer influence the society positively, such that we can learn from? Well, I'm not accusing the man in the studio, but I think there seems to be a departure from what drama or film or stage production used to teach us in those days. Why is it so? Why is there no control? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. He will respond now.
Thank you very much, sir. First, I would like to chip in a little bit of redefinition of what you gave for drama. Drama is a reflection of the way it's supposed to be treated, but because we need to laugh about it. Rape is something that they need to make comedy about. You don't do that. Normally, our society does not joke with rape. Our society does not make wife beating, wife battering an element of entertainment. It doesn't happen. you know. But these days, anything goes because we need to be entertained. That's what I think has happened, sir.
Yeah, but then if I let me just add or well, I will add to it,
Yes.
and I will also query some of the things, not from you, but what we see happening out there. You said people make skits to now entertain, you know, with some very the value system that we uphold as our culture. But then they're making money, they're getting endorsements.
Yeah.
Because that's the focus.
And
now.
that's what I'm saying. That's what society has turned the forms to. You know, the forms are no longer respected as forms of engagement with the human mind.
That's right.
They have been turned to forms of entertainment, basically. This is not a forum to diss, you know, any institution.
Yeah.
But look at even the laws that regulate our narrative forms.
That's right. And the content that we
And
put
the
out
content
there.
that to put out there, you know, they're all structured to make it look like entertainment. You know, our censorship frowns on anything that is engaging. We don't deal with the issues. You know, once you begin to deal with issues, you are not going to get your certificate.
Yeah, because they will consider it too serious.
Exactly.
You know, in fact, they will be telling you are obsolete.
Exactly.
You're outdated.
Now you are outdated, you know, that it's entertainment. You know, why are you talking about this issue?
Yeah.
You cannot talk about Nigerian civil war. You cannot talk about politics. You cannot talk about this. Oh, just keep it light. Let people laugh. So that's what has happened.
But Mr. Niji Akanni,
Oga, are you still there? The man who called.
well, I guess he's listening. Okay. We have another caller. Hello.
Ẹ káàsán.
Ẹ káàsán ma.
A fẹ́ kí n pé ẹ kú ètò abẹ tó fẹ́ bí Mr. Niji Akanni pé àwọn eré wo ni wọ́n ti direct bóyá lórí afẹ́fẹ́ àbí lórí ìtàgé.
Àbí lófurufú.
Tàbí lófurufú.
Ó ti yá. Wọ́n wà bí.
Ọlọ́run bá wa sọ̀rọ̀.
Ta lẹ́yìn gangan Ọlọ́run a fẹ́ mọ̀ yìí.
Àríkẹ́ lórúkọ tèmi.
Àríkẹ́ Ọlọ́run adé máa rí yín kẹ́ ọ.
Ẹ máa ṣe Binta Ayo Mogaji.
Àmín. Ṣàràwá.
Ẹ lẹ́kùjọ́ mẹ́ta mọ̀mọ́.
Ẹ ṣe gan ni. Àyínníwájú pé wọ́n gbẹ̀yìn wá fẹ́rẹ̀ ètò yìí. Wọ́n fẹ́ mọ àwọn eré àgbéléwò tẹ́tí direct. Àti àwọn èyí tó jẹ́ orí ìtàgé ẹ sọ díẹ̀ fún wa níbẹ̀.
Ó fẹ́ pọ̀ díẹ̀ náà. Tá a bá sọ pé fíìmù ní tá a pè ní home video ń gbà yẹn. A kọ àwọn kan bíi Jombo.
À ń gbọ́ yín sà.
A kọ àwọn fíìmù kan bíi Jombo. A direct àwọn kan bíi Bojúbojú, bíi Ewé Ojú Omi, bíi Jogun Omi. Àná la direct àwọn wọ̀nyẹn. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Wonderful.
More recently, I direct Aramotu, Heroes and Zeros.
Mo gbọ́rọ̀ yẹn Aramotu yẹn gan dáadáa. Yes.
So before then, ní lórí television láti ṣe Papa Ajasco ní nǹkan bíi 1990 kìíní kan This Life fún Wálé Adénúgà àti ṣe.
Inspector yẹn.
Gbogbo wọn yẹn àti ṣe Nowhere to be Found fún AK Media, you know, so several things like that láti ṣe.
Ẹ ṣe gan ni Ọlọ́run á túbọ̀ máa ràn yín lọ́wọ́ á máa fún yín ṣe o.
Àmì Olúwa
Ẹ ṣe ìyá wa tí ẹ pé o.
Akẹ́yìn náà.
Àmì o.
Ẹ dẹ̀ pẹ́ fún wa ẹ máa pẹ́ ẹ máa wọ́n máa fèrèkì ṣe kiri kan.
Ẹ̀yin adìẹ funfun lẹ́wà lórí ìjókòó ń bẹ̀ yẹn.
Ọlọ́run.
Station adìẹ funfun. Ọlọ́run á ràn gbogbo yín lọ́wọ́.
Àmì ìyá mi Happy Mother's Day. Ẹ ṣe o.
Same to you both.
Ẹ ṣe Ọlọ́run.
Obviously, he has put in so much professionalism into his work
Absolutely.
because those works he mentioned are very fantastic jobs. So, but however, some years ago, there was this clamor against piracy. And I remember Bayowa then used to talk a lot about it on television. I don't know whether they've been able to conquer that war now, this time.
No.
No. Okay.
Piracy is not a war that you can win.
Okay.
Not anywhere in the world. As long as the people produce, there will be spooners, who are called spooners, who are want lójú onílé, you know, those who wait to eat where they did not reap. It's not only in a film form, it's not only in theater, it's not only in the performing arts.
But has it reduced from years back?
It has reduced because now you can control technology more.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Before, the issue of piracy had to do with because you had a physical, product of VHS or VCD and
exactly.
all that, so which were reproducible, much more easier. You know, these days everything is about digital.
It's digital.
Yeah. So the piracy has reduced definitely. You know, but then it has reduced because the creators have moved away from the platforms that can be easily reproduced. That's what has reduced it. You know? It's not as if the thieves are not still there. They're there.
I'm going to pirate around. Well, Mr. Akanni, there's a lot that I saw, but I remember you. I came to see your interpretation of Wole Soyinka's Lion and the Jewel at the Stratford East Theatre, London, in 2012, which was part of Nigeria's entry for 2012 Cultural Olympiad. Yes. What? If I ask you what was the reception like in a few seconds, the reception by those who were based in London?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was really fantastic.
They loved
I think
it.
that was a highlight of my theater career, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very well received, you know, and I thank God more because the producers got the value for their investment in the production.
Interesting.
You know. The Nigerian community in London then were really appreciative of that production.
I was proud of.
Oh, you saw it?
I said I was there. Oh, Kiletun sorry.
Kábíyèsí, ẹ má bínú.
Thomas said I was there. I was there.
Yes.
Oh, Domingo. But Uncle Niji, you were part of King Babu, which you co-directed.
I didn't. No.
So what did you do?
How could
Assistant. Sorry, ma binu.
I assisted Professor.
Okay, okay, let me delete co.
Thank you.
But you assisted Professor Soyinka.
Yes.
And I was a part of that cast.
That's
King Babu. We toured South Africa.
Yeah, Germany,
Switzerland, Germany, and a couple of other places.
It was a world tour.
What? Yeah, because if I look through your, profile here,
You can't find it.
I cannot. No, you didn't even put King Babu, and I'm not too happy.
Because I was not the substantive director of King Babu. I was assistant, man.
Yeah, but you were part of that project.
Yes.
It's not
directing credits.
Okay, maybe no. Usman is saying to us, because really Sasiko, I'm going to part 2. We'd like to thank everybody who's in part of this show, tunjisotimirin's friends and associates. We'd like to thank Mr. Niji Akanni, director extraordinaire, who has done a lot of works, and we're so proud of you.
Thank you.
You have created a path, and a lot of people are following. And on behalf of the management and staff of BSF 101.7 FM, Yemi Shonde Baba Agbalagba himself, who gives us the platform every Sunday to come and express our talents. We'd like to thank you. We'd like to thank Uchman, who's been on the console. We thank everybody who has worked with us this afternoon. Afif Karim is here live after eating all the bubu mede of Eid Fitri. Wow. Thank you so much, everybody. And this is how we're going to draw the curtain. In fact, not only curtain, we'll draw the bubu paraphernalia and close it for now, and we'll resume next Sunday. Thank you. God bless you.